I'm interested to hear what helped you on your recovery, particularly what support you had during that recovery period. What was valuable for you in that time?
I have a very useful asset in a wife which was very good at helping out. We were talking a little bit earlier about those who haven't got any people to sort of look after them at home, how they would cope.
Yeah.
I seem to get on very well because my wife helped an awful lot in the difficulties that we went through.
She was closely involved.
Oh yes.
And was she retired at the time?
She's retired, yes.
Yeah. What did you find was particularly valuable compared to not having her around, if that makes sense? What did you really value from her?
She has a little bit of a medical background, so that's quite useful in knowing the various stages of body functions and things like that. That is extremely useful.
Yes.
Which not everybody, even with wives and partners and so forth, would have that sort of benefit.
She had special expertise.
Yep.
What did she used to do then?
She was a radiographer.
Oh, that's very, very good, because their training can include a lot of medical areas.
Yep.
What did you find was the reaction of friends and distant family?
That's a difficult thing to quantify. I think when I was first diagnosed, it was quite a shock. Mainly because my personal difficulties. My sister, only two months beforehand, she died of pancreatic cancer.
Gosh.
And whilst I was in hospital having my operation, my mother was in hospital also with bowel cancer.
Oh, I'm sorry.
And she passed away actually while I was in hospital. So it was a fraught time for the whole of the family. You
had a lot to contend with.
Yes, it was quite difficult. One of the first things we had to do when we came out of hospital was to bury my mother. You know, the funeral service for that. Yeah, so it was quite a difficult time, that was.
Were you able to be around for them? I know you were unwell at the time, but were you able to be around to some extent?
Yes, for my sister, because that was before I was diagnosed. Not so much for my mother. My wife had to do nearly all of the arrangements and visiting for my mother. So
that's very difficult, isn't it? You've had experience then in the family of these three different cancers,
yes.
The pancreatic cancer,
yes.
the bowel cancer and the esophageal cancer. What's your opinion about how medical care is organised for these three areas?
That is difficult to quantify. I can only go on a personal experience, which I found excellent, really good.
Yeah.
In Leicester, I can't answer for other towns, but Leicester's been extremely good to help people through in the hospitals and the aftercare as well.
And your sister who had the pancreatic cancer, that's one that, again, is a less common cancer, but it's one that can advance quite quickly.
Yes, it did.
What were the main symptoms, if I can ask that?
I think pain as much as anything else.
Yeah.
Again, not having had that, it's difficult for me to actually specify, but pain, I think, is mostly.
You were seeing it second-hand in a way.
Yeah.
And do you feel that she had, appropriate treatment at the time she was unwell?
Yeah, she had good treatment.
Yeah.
But with pancreatic cancer, there's not a great deal that they can do, I don't think.
How long was she living with that condition?
About 1 year, probably slightly longer, but not a great deal from diagnosis.
Okay. Let's come back to your situation, because I was talking about the recovery period, which goes into a kind of rehabilitation period. And I was talking about the reaction of friends. Were there any other source of support that were valuable during your rehabilitation period?
Not particularly that I can think of.
Anything from the hospital or professionals that were involved?
Yes, from the hospital's point of view, yes, there's very good support via the specialist nurse and the specialist dietitian.
Yes.
There's certainly those two elements there. If there are difficulties, we found that they're only a phone call away.
That's very good.
And I mean, for example, we have picked the phone up once or twice with a particular difficulty, and they've helped enormously.
Yeah.